Hello there, this is a 1973 Jensen Interceptor available for sale. It's currently owned by Eddie Irvine, who was the Ferrari driver with Schumacher and Jaguar. And he's owned the car for about 3 years. If you're a guy from England in his late 40s, early 50s, you would have grown up lusting over these cars like myself, and they got a big following now. So anyway, he's owned it for a few years. He bought it out of Arizona, took it to his place in Miami, had it there for a couple of years, and sent it out to me kind of April of last year. I needed some work doing to it, so I spent a good few months on it, just tinkering, and now she runs really well. And he doesn't want to take it back to Miami. He doesn't live there enough to have a car there, so he's just going to sell the car. So it's available, and there it is. It's copper brown, one of 13 cars apparently that color. I just recently had another car the same color, 4 VIN numbers apart. You can see it in the photos. And this car was repainted. It was done in 1985. Probably not to the best standard, looking at the way it's been applied and the fact that it's actually coming off now. There is no paint on the roof. The clear coat's completely gone. Same as on the hood or the bonnet, you know, it's all completely gone. But from at night time and from a distance, it looks like $1 million. But it's worth painting. To paint it, I would probably take these moldings off. And it's a good solid car. There doesn't seem to be any rust in it. There does seem to be a crack here with some sort of little indentation, so something must have happened here, must have had some sort of incident, but once the car is painted you can take care of that. The rims were painted black inserts, mostly they're grey, but these have black inserts. And the tyres are a little odd on this car. Right now it's got low profiles, 60 profiles on the front with 70 profiles on the rear, so they've given it a bit of a drag look, which is typical for American cars, but not really British. So the fact that these tyres are so good, we never changed them, but at some point they probably could do with a set that are all the same. And all the chrome is good, the glass is all good. Front bumpers seem to be pretty decent, and like the grille is all good, and the headlight surrounds and the side grills. This top grille here was painted with the car, and they painted it color coded instead of being like this finish. But everything is good. Go inside the car, the passenger side. I had the interior re-dyed. It was a little worn out, a little weathered. So it's been done. It's been done nearly a year now, and it's still pretty good. Looks still pretty fresh. These were made by the previous owner. I guess the Velcro on the actual headrests were died down, so they put this thing in just to carry these headrest cushions. But the interior is good. When I had the seats re-dyed, guy didn't finish the edges here. You can see the discoloration here of what it used to be like, but that's the only place that you see this. The wood is not great. It's not terrible, but it's not great. And the dash is good. There's no cracks on the dash. There's a little bit of shrinkage in the corners here, which is typical here of Southern California cars. A little bit of dash shrinkage. It's got the original 8-track, which works. I don't know actually about the 8-track player. I don't have an 8-track tape, but the stereo works really fine. See the seats, all in good shape, and the door panels. I did replace the rear overhead there. That was completely worn out, and so was the rear shelf. But I redid them in vinyl, especially here for Southern California, where the sun is so destructive. But this has now been done in vinyl, but you know, it's fine. Did win some awards over the years. The car started life in Northern California, and then the guy, I guess, must have retired out to Arizona, and he took it to a few shows. That was 2005, 2009. Seems to be the latest one now. But it does come with a parts list book and a workshop manual. Has the original tools here with the additional tools in there, and also has a battery trickle charger too. And then have a look under the bonnet. This is always hot. There we go. Oh! Oh. Damn. That is hot. That thing gets red hot. Anyway, there's the engine. And not bad looking, actually. Doesn't seem to be any rust anywhere on the inner fenders. And everything looks pretty much stock here, which is good. A lot of times I've seen these cars and there's wires everywhere that someone's done some sort of repair. You can see the larger fans that I replaced. They're actually a little too big for this framework, but they do work. The padding's starting to come down a bit, which is typical. Needs the rubber around here. This is missing. Someone's put this Mickey Mouse thing on here. But as I mentioned, under here it all seems pretty stock. There doesn't seem to be any Mickey Mouse work done. It has had another carburetor put on it. It's got a Edelbrock Rebel, which I guess is very common. There's a little bit of additional wire in here, but I guess that must be for the fans, because that's a fan fuse here. But yeah, it's all good. It gets bloody warm under here, but I guess there's a cookbook that came out with this car that you could put food under here and drive a certain distance or time, and you could cook the food, but I haven't been able to find it yet. But there it is, 1973 Jensen. We should go and give her a drive. Okay, welcome to this 1973 Jensen Interceptor Series 3. Up for sale. It's got 78,000 miles. We're going to give it a little test drive. Starts right up on the button. It's a little warm today, so I'm going to have to put the air conditioning on, which wasn't working when I first got this car. I didn't realize how simple it was to fix. Now I have it. Wow, that is lovely. Warm today here in California, so like 80 plus degrees. So anyway, put the car up to temperature, put her in gear. It's got a little bit of a noisy seatbelt receptacle here. I just got to push it back a bit and it's fine. Anyway, off we go. Goes in a straight line and stops in a dead straight line. I did have the front discs skimmed or turned, and freed up the front calipers that were seized, and now it's been working a good 10 months now, not a problem. Brakes are pretty decent for a big heavy car. I mean, they don't stop you like a modern car does. It's a lot of weight, so but yeah, that stop's pretty decent. I've not had a problem with the brakes. The transmission seems to be fine. Goes through the gears, doesn't hold a gear. Changes down when you need to accelerate, and goes straight into reverse, so everything seems to be good there. I would recommend an oil change, and an oil and filter change is one thing I didn't get around to doing, was changing the pan gasket and the filter there, which is a pretty simple job. The car runs and drives really good. I did put 2 exhausts on it. They were both blown, the original ones, so they were replaced. And did some other things, oil leaks and a couple of other things. And absolutely beautifully. And now with the ice cold air, it's a breeze to drive in the summer, which was a pain last year. I was driving it earlier in the year and it was so warm. And with the heat that comes from the engine, it can get quite warm in this cabin, but with the AC running now, you don't feel any additional heat from the engine, and temperature up to full temp right now, which is about 4/5 of the gauge. I put the bigger fans on and it seems to hold it dead at 4/5. It doesn't go any higher. It will go lower obviously on a cooler day, but oil temperature just a hair under 50, stays there, doesn't fluctuate through the rev range, pretty much stays solid, doesn't go up, doesn't go down. The voltmeter right now is reading a tad over 13.5, which it should be about 13.7, so that seems to be working well. I had fixed the tachometer that was stuck at 3,000 RPM, but I basically just took it apart, looped the spindle, and it's worked fine ever since. Yeah, she runs good. It's a very warm day today, and temperature is staying right there at 4/5. Doesn't get any higher. She stops in a dead straight line. No fluctuation from the steering. Oh, I'm going to miss driving this car. It's been such a pleasure. I worked on 9 of these cars when I was 16. I never got to drive one until I came to America some 25 years later. And the thing that struck me with the California cars is there's just no rust. Like I said, in '81 when I was 16, they were less than 10 years old. And we were dealing with rotten cars, rust in the seals and the rear arches. Now, this particular car, I don't see any rust in it. I had the door card off recently. Inside there's no rust, there's no murmurs of any rust. It's just unbelievable. These cars stayed in such great shapes here in California. So there you go, 1973 Jensen Interceptor. It's going to be on eBay in a day or so, and there you go. Happy days.